The Adventures of Binder and the Lone Wolf, a Nimrione tale.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for all for being here. This is the character creation one-shot contest. I'm joined by our lovely players. We have Alex and we have Chelsea, and they will be playing starting at the bottom. We have...
Hi, I'm Alex, also known as Idly or Idly Wild. I will be playing Jean-Jacques, tiefling, fiendish warlock. He's also known as Binder.
And moving right along, we have Chelsea.
Hello, I am Chelsea, aka Ylva, the Lone Wolf, half-elf ranger monster slayer. That big scars across her face. I also go by Musicaholic492 on TikTok and Instagram. Mainly do a lot of D&D and cosplay content and whatever creative stuff comes up in my brain. And also, Alex does amazing stuff too. Check her out.
Oh,
and so does Dandy.
Thank you. And of course, I am Mr.DanDyDM on TikTok and on all the other socials that I care about. We begin in the city of Ashcaleen, the capital of the kingdom of Nimrione, in the world of Odromia. The year is 665 PC, post-Cataclysm. And at this point, there has been a coup in this kingdom. The king is far afield in the midst of a war with the elves that are up in the north, and his queen, Nyla Lee, has very swiftly come in and undercut him and supplanted him very swiftly with the aid of her Red Guard. The common folk do not seem to be at all bothered by this. Those that are have quickly clammed up and kept very silent about everything because they don't want to get in trouble. But the common folk really aren't that interested about who is on the throne. All they care is that things proceed in their lives as normal. We join our characters. We have Jean-Jacques, who is a bit of an information broker working out of the Shadowford, which is the entertainment red light district of Ashcaleen. And we have the new arrival, Ylva, the Lone Wolf, who has come from the Northlands. They were in pursuit of a query, something known as a
Night Howler,
which is, for all intents and purposes, a werewolf.
A very magical enhanced werewolf.
Yes. They have been in pursuit of this particular target for quite some time, tracking it all the way up to the city of Ashcaleen and realizing that their prey has entered the city and is now hiding somewhere in it. Through a series of comedy of errors and twists and turns, Ylva realizes that the best place to acquire certain bits of information is at some of the taverns that are located within the Shadowford. Information gets spread around really quick, and it is quickly brought to Ylva's attention that perhaps the best place to ask questions regarding a person's whereabouts or something's whereabouts within the city is to inquire of Jean-Jacques. After making this inquiry, Jean-Jacques very cordially states that for a certain bit of coin or perhaps the help of some, on a job, they would be happy to supply the information. Several days go by. Ylva, you are staying currently at an inn known as the hold on one second, I had it right here, the Regal Obelisk. And Jean-Jacques, you are of course in your bookstore and binding shop known as Writ and Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
We will actually begin with you. It is the early morning. It is the early morning hours within the Shadowford. And the sun has just begun to come over the horizon, and just you begin to see you sort of are in the midst of like waking up. You're actually fallen asleep on one of your desks that you have in your office. You're just, sort of just, it is usually very neatly organized batches of papers and little bits of notes and pieces of information that your your little hands and feet procure for you when they travel throughout the city. And but at this point, you mistakenly, not something normally happens, you mistakenly fallen asleep upon your desk, just sort of head, and you just wake up and you're and you realize that one of the papers is like hanging off of one of your horns. Please, Jean-Jacques, describe your character.
So Jean-Jacques is probably about 5'10". He's not a very large man, but he definitely carries himself with a little bit of presence. Right now he's probably a little bit of askew, not wearing his typical hat that helps to mask his smaller horns. He is kind of a pale flesh color. As opposed to a brightly colorful tiefling. He doesn't feel the need to be flashy. His personality makes all the splash it needs. He is, as one of my favorite books would like to say, sharp edges and tailored lines
I love that.
for a suit. He is still wearing his suit jacket because he fell asleep. Kind of in a little bit of a rumpled mess. So as he like wakes up, he like instinctually like fixes his collar. Like anyone of import could walk in at any time, and it's time to be presentable. He has two smaller sets. He has a smaller set of black horns that he usually keeps in his hat. A fedora that has little holes cut out so that it looks like it's almost designed into the hat, as well as a tail that he usually hides in the long tails of his coat.
Thank you. As you pull yourself together, you begin to hear the early morning sounds of the city as it begins to awaken. And you hear just the faintest of knocks upon the front door of your establishment.
Coming coming up, because he's a little bit off his game, and he will head over to the door.
Okay. As you approach your front door, you realize that the knocks are actually coming further down on it, and you know who this is. And as you open the door, you look down. It is one of your procurers. A goblin known as Critch. And Critch looks up at you, and Critch is a younger goblin, but he looks up at you and is just like, "Hello, Master Jacques. I just wanted to let you know I was able to get that bit of information for you, sir. The one about a furry creature of some kind. I think I might have spotted for you. I wrote it down somewhere." And he begins to like fish through his pockets, and he pulls out some papers, and Critch is not the most organized of your procurers, but they have done good work for you in the past. So you have a little bit of warmth, maybe patience for this particular one. He picks up one of the pieces. Yes. Oh yes. Lathulius, the one of the Red Guard, mentioned something about going to Ilfang prison. They believe they have something that matches the description of what you're looking for.
Ilfang prison.
Yeah, you know it's over in the North Docks, right by those sky whatever you call it, that they're making over there. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew about it, and I was wondering, is there a particular reward for the procuring of this information?
Yes, of course. And Jean will pay the going rate for this bit of information from whatever gold Ylva gave him from that supply.
Okay.
As well as, guess what? Because you did such a good job on this job, the next real good job is going to be yours, Clinch. It's going to be yours.
You're very kind, Master Jacques. Mr. J, you're very, very generous, and I will make sure I pass it on to some of the other, up and comers that might be interested in procuring more information for you. Uh, just wanted to, since you've been so generous, I figured I might as well just toss in this little bit of information. So the theater establishment. It turns out that several of the actors, the ones that went missing, their bodies were found actually over in the salt ford.
Really?
Just really, I don't know if there's perhaps a murderer around in the city somewhere, just taking out actors left and right, but their bodies were. He's sort of like, you can see he gets a little greener around the gills, as he you could tell that whatever he saw or witnessed, while he might have been able to identify one of the actors or two of the actors, there was not much else there that was it was very sparse in terms of identifying markers. But they did I think they found several corpses that I thought you might want to know about. Is there another reward for that piece of information?
He'll tip him a silver and a dime store like thriller novel.
See, Jacques goes sort of like ducks back into the shop and like pulls out this little light, the equivalent of an Ashcaleen comic book, and just like hands it over to Critch
and some money
and the silver piece and Critch is like, oh, I've been meaning to read this one. I haven't had the opportunity. This is the latest issue, right? Oh wow.
Yes.
Well,
only the best. Hot off the presses.
Thank you so much, Mr. J. And I will keep my eye out for any other information that I might think is valuable to you. Do you want me to go and alert the half breed that wanted that information from you?
Yes, you may go alert Ylva. That will be starting to make that move towards inquiring as to the location of a certain prisoner.
Very well. And they were staying at it's in the salt ford, right? The
obelisk.
The obelisk. I'll find it. Don't you worry about it. I'll do it immediately. Best of days to you, and may the gods, and he sort of just backs like almost very reverentially at you, given your status in the Shadow Ford, and then he once he's gotten about like 20 feet away, still backing up, he just then turns and like beelines it for an alleyway, and then he's gone. You sort of like chuckle to yourself, you're just very amused by his shenanigans. And closing the door to your shop, you begin to go about your day. Switching gears over to Ylva. Ylva, you've been in the city for about a week at this point, waiting for hints and pieces of information to start to materialize regarding your quarry. At this point, it has been fairly dry in terms of helpful tips or hints about the location of this particular target that you've been hunting. As you stir in your bed, you sort of just crack your neck, just begin to go through your daily stretches. The day is yours. What do you do?
Yes, well, Ylva, going through her stretches. Apologies for the accent. I'm doing the best that I can, but she has a sort of German Zemlin accent. Little description about her. Half elf, as said. She wears a lot of white and black clothing, though the white shirt she wears is very tattered. And despite the white and black, she has very two distinct features that people will notice no matter what. It is the 5 purplish long scars across her face, or the rainbow circling irises that she has for eyes. And normally when people see her, she can't hide this, so it's a battle between which one takes priority of what's seen. But she's in her stretches, she's very much sort of in her state, but is a little, we'll say, annoyed that nothing has come up yet, but she is trying to tell herself to be patient, be calm. It will come as she starts to wake up and stands up, and I think we'll start. Is she like in her like in her sleepwear, or is she like in her like full outfit right now?
Well, that is something that I would allow you to make the decision about. Would Ylva, given the sort of the uncertainty of where you are and not necessarily knowing the terrain, would you make yourself super comfortable, or would you just sleep as is?
Nah, I'd sleep as is. Good point. I would sleep as is, but does her stretches and then gets up, and she takes you know what? She's a bit hungry, so she's gonna start heading downstairs to see if maybe she can grab a very quick bite to eat as she waits for Jean to give her something. Okay. And grabs her weapons and stuff as she goes downstairs.
Given the earliness in the morning, as you exit your room and descend the steps down into the tavern pub area, and sort of the front door space of the inn, you encounter a tiny halfling man who looks to be about middle age, sort of very salt and pepper on the sides, and like just a very trim looking beard. He sees you and says, "Ah, the Lone Wolf, welcome. Good morning to ye. Do you require breakfast this morning, or are you heading out about the city?"
I figured maybe have a little bit of some sort of snack. I don't want to bother your time since it's very early, and I don't want you to be making too much of a fuss. But if there's some sort of little thing that I can grab.
Yes. Well, we have some pork sausage, and we of course will also have some hash available. Would you do you want a small bowl of something then?
Yes, that sounds delightful. I trust you for what you need.
I'll be right with you then. And he sort of points off in the direction of one of the booths. That looks to be sort of the way it's the interior is shaped is very circular, and it sort of extends out, and on the edges of the room there are 6 booths. Then in the center, they're sort of immediately off of those there are some tables, some high tops, and then in the very center it's almost like a dais where there's like the equivalent of an open mic, where performers, actors, comedians would perform and do their gig. He immediately he runs off into the kitchen behind the bar and is lost to sight. You hear some banging going on back there, but other than that, it's just like you sort of also hear the very hint of, or smell the very hint of the beginnings of a hearty breakfast that's being cooked back there.
Nice. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, you know what? Even though not knowing what it is, I think she'll already put 1 gold on the table to tip him, and then she will head towards like the back booths so that nobody can disrupt her. Because question, do I have a map at all of the city, even though I've been here for about a week?
Yes, you do. Actually, that is something that Jacques actually gave to you when you first arrived, because he realized that you were kind of just wandering around haphazardly about the city, not really knowing where to go. And so he supplied you with a map. And of course, the map is available to you.
Wonderful. Well, I will go and sit down. Hold up. Sorry. Props before I forget. Gold coin, put it on the table for him. And then I will head to the booth and I will take out the map and look over where I have checked, where I have not checked, depending on what places we still need to look for, because she's still kind of doing her own tracking on her side. So I don't know which parts we've covered, which ones we have not, based on what's on the map.
Understood. So based off of where you've looked already, you have been through parts of Cavathis. You've also been through Scarnborough, sort of the outliers. You had to go through Scarnborough in order to get to the city. And that's where you discovered the dead carcass of a cow that was mangled and just killed brutally. And that sort of also led you to believe that this is the path, this is the trail that this creature has left as they've made their way into the city. Gotcha. You have been through a good chunk of the Salt Ford, and you've also dipped your toes down into the Merkden docks, which is the southern docks, the southern portion of the city. You haven't really had the opportunity to go across the river to the other, or across the bridges to the other side, to investigate the Starry Nest District, Winterhold Keep, or the Dungannon, or the North Docks.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we might be able to go to one of those at some point, as she kind of like takes whatever quill or something, just circles and writes little notes on the side, and is just very absorbed in her work.
About 5 minutes goes by, and then suddenly you see an even smaller halfling, looks to be about perhaps a halfling about 13, 14, rushes into the room carrying a tray with a tiny bowl of looks to be pork sausage and some hash, and he puts it in front of you and sort of backs away, just sort of looking, seeing the scars that sort of are imprinted across your face. And he just, his eyes are wide, not necessarily with fear, but it's just sort of in awe.
Is there anything at all that you require? Anything? I noticed you don't have a drink. Do you want a drink? We have some nice warm tea that just came off the words. Came off the fire. It just finished boiling.
Tea would be wonderful. What is your name?
Lucas.
Lucas. Nice to meet you. Ylva.
Yeah. The fact that he knows your name is just like, it just tickles him pink, and he blushes a little bit. And then he runs by, and he sees the coin on the table, and he's like,
"Oh, is that for Pa? Is it for my Pa? Is that for the food? Ah, oh, okay."
And he runs up and bites it, and then he runs back into the kitchen. He comes right back out a second later with a nice steaming cup of hot tea, and he places it very delicately next to your bowl of food, and he backs away again slowly. There's a lot of NPCs backing away from the two of you already, and
I wonder why.
And some from just a known reputation, and others from like a very apparent visage. And so at this point, Lucas just sort of I hope you enjoy your meal, and runs back into the kitchen.
Just shakes her head and just kind of smiles to herself as she like eats and drinks, because she's gotten this reaction a bunch of times before in various degrees from certain people.
You spend the next 30 minutes just very leisurely going over the map, going over your notes, different taverns that you've been to, different people that you've talked to. You are eating your meal. It's actually it's a very hearty breakfast meal that is going to get you through a good portion of the day. There is suddenly the sound of small feet, and you see a very green, tiny goblin man run into the inn.
Yes. You're the Lone Wolf. The Lone Wolf, and he points at you. Jean-Jacques told me to tell you that I I think I found what you're looking for. And he said that he would be over very shortly to join you. And perhaps you would be heading over to the North Dock area to Ilfang Prison, as there seems to be a report of some kind that they may have captured the thing that you're looking for. It was a furry beastie, right? Some kind of a nasty thing, right?
Question: have I ever met this goblin before?
You have not met this goblin before.
Do I believe him? Should I make a roll to see if I believe him or not?
So you're wanting to do an insight check?
Yes, insight to see if I believe him or not.
Give me an insight check. First roll of the night.
First roll of the night. I had to. It's just.
Yeah, starting off strong.
And that's fun. Plus, what's my insight? What's my insight? And that's 1 plus 2, so it's a 3. Got to get the bad ones out of the way.
Yeah, early is good.
I'm not going to destroy your NPC if that's what you're thinking.
He seems to be the most trustworthy of his race that you have ever encountered in your entire life. His candor, his willingness to share information is warmth to your heart and soul. And he seems to be entirely pleasant, and you probably would love to get to know the rest of his family, as they seem to be come from good stock and very high in integrity.
Oh my gosh, you're trying to put all this warmth in Ylva's heart that she doesn't have, but you're like,
Nat ones, they still supply you with information. It just might be the right info.
Well, that is very good to know indeed. Will you be wanting to join us on this excursion of ours?
His eyes suddenly go wide, and it's like the air catches in his throat.
Oh, no, thank you, Marm. I don't really. I couldn't. Ill thing. Prison is that's not. It's not really my cup of tea. Plus, I'd have to go across the river and get through the governor's mansion areas and the place where the uppers live. It's the uppers. You've heard a term before. It's a reference to people who live in or around Winterhold Keep. It's basically a term for the 1% of this city. The people who own everything. Mm-hmm. They are called the uppers. And they, in order to enter, there's a separate guard that sort of watches and governs who enters this area. Not only because they want to keep the uppers safe, but it's also one of the only ways to get to the North Docks and get to the sort of the projects that they have under close wraps, not the least of which are the sky ships that are currently in development. So yeah, Critch does not have any interest in attending this little voyage that you're going on with Jean-Jacques.
Well, if you're as certain about it, you said furry creature, right? Do you know what they're called? What I'm looking for?
No, Marm. I don't know. I just heard from some eyewitnesses and people who were present in or around Ilfang Prison, who mentioned that there was a very large furry creature who walked on 2 legs and had very nasty claws and teeth.
Sounds very much like the description of what I'm looking for, but I guess it's a lead nonetheless. Much appreciated. What's your name again?
Critch, Marm.
Critch. And you've worked with Jean for how long?
Oh, I've worked for Master J. I've worked for, I would say off and on for about the last 4 years.
Good to know. Then I guess you're a source that he trusts.
Yes. yes. Yeah, he definitely, I am of course one of his most trusted procurers of knowledge.
Very hard thing to find these days. People you can trust. It's those that are closest to you that can betray you.
So they say.
At this point, the mention of betrayal and the ones who are closest to you betraying you seems to make him uncomfortable slightly, and he begins to sort of shuffle his feet a little bit. And
So Jean-Jacques will be here presently. I just ran ahead to let you know, and I will make my exit. And he doffs a pretend hat and bows slightly and then exits, again backing away from you.
They always run. I wonder why.
At this point, you have finished your meal. You're just sort of going over your notes. We will now return to Jean-Jacques. At this point, you've collected your things. Your what things will Jean-Jacques be bringing with them?
Jean will be bringing mostly just himself for all intents and visual purposes. He has a couple daggers hidden in his breast pocket, as well as a few documents. He definitely would be trying to find almost like a delivery. Does he have any deliveries up into at least the uppers areas on the docket for books?
You have one delivery. This would be not within the Winterhold Keep, but there are several governor's mansions that are run around the perimeter. And one of them is pretty much just past the main entrance. You'd basically be walking by it, so you may as well.
Yeah. He will take the books for delivery. Again, like kind of like stashing them in whatever pockets he has on the interior of his jacket, as well as he'll take his cane. Yet again, adjusting his jacket, and as he does so, he casts mage armor on the jacket. Dark smoke kind of emitting from it as the magic activates. Using Armor of Shadows.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. You do all of that as you collect all of your things. You collect your books. You put them in this little bag that you have. You sort of wear as like a tote almost, and you put your hat on to hide your horns, and you exit your shop, locking it behind you as you go. And you begin to make your way through the Shadow Ford. The Shadow Ford, which actually is not that busy right now, mainly because it is still the early morning, and it is most of the business starts up past like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At this point, though, you do see several of the bordellos starting to empty the leavings of the guests and just tossing it out into the street. And you also see several of the street performers who are sort of like propped up against a building, just sort of sleeping, begin to stir as you begin to make your way down the main thoroughfare through the Shadow Ford. As you begin to get closer to the river, you do see, and this is something that you've always wanted to see, because it's something that you've heard stories about, and you've seen it from afar, and you've never actually wandered in, but you've always heard about it and heard sort of the urban legends surrounding it. But you begin to walk past this large open area housing the circus of Baroness Santiago's Jubilee. And this is a traveling circus that has entered the city almost yearly. And the rumors and the tales surrounding the circus is that people sometimes will enter and are entertained, but then they don't leave. They get whisked away with the circus, or they disappear. And sometimes people will come back, but with sort of hazy memories about all of their experiences. Something that has sort of like kept your curiosity at bay. But you begin to walk past and you see it's a 3-top circus. Give me a perception check really quick.
Oh. Let me pull up his character sheet. Perception. Okay.
Started with a nat 1, so it's got to go uphill from here.
You know what? It does go ever so slightly uphill to 5.
Wait, you rolled a 5 or the roll is a 5?
I rolled a 5 and I have no bonuses.
This is terrific.
Yeah.
So on a 5, you just look up and you see the 3-top circus, and you sort of hear the sounds of various animals that are being housed, and you definitely smell the faint aroma of manure, obviously from the animals that are being housed there. And you begin to, as you make your way past, you see this very large cage in which is housed a pure white, blue-eyed owlbear giant.
Ooh.
And just beginning to stir, but you do see that underneath it, or around, not underneath, but around it, there are 2 owlbear cubs that are also within the cage. And you see a trainer begin to make their way towards the cage as you pass by. At this point, also, as you make your way past the circus, you begin to see several of the ladies and gentlemen of the night begin to make their way out of some of the houses and taverns as they begin to make their way back to the bordellos that house them. And you see several of them are in different stages of undress or dress as you make your way past. Eventually, though, you do make it to the river, and you do see where the regal obelisk is. Switching over to you, Ylva. Some time goes by during this point. You have finished going over your notes, and there's definitely a stir upstairs as the patrons of the regal obelisk are now beginning to get themselves together, make their way downstairs. As several of them begin to make their way downstairs and sit at the bar and some at the high tops, you do see Jean-Jacques enter the regal obelisk.
About time.
Look, it's been a little bit of a morning. Had to get my morning stroll in, see how things were going.
I guess I can't fault you there. I did meet your goblin friend, Gretchen Creech. Sorry, it's
Creech.
Creech, yes. Informed me about where we were heading, and I mean, he seemed like a nice enough fellow. I offered to come, but he was scared for some reasons beyond me, but whatever.
He's not much one for the procurement aspects of my trade. He definitely likes to help where he can, though.
And I'm sure a bit of gold coin goes a long way.
It does. It helps grease the wheels just a little bit, so to say.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, it is a prison we are heading to regarding this?
Yes. The Saltford prison. Ilfang prison up in Saltford. Sorry.
No, Ilfang prison on the North Docks. Sorry.
On the North Docks.
You are currently in the Saltford right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah. Up in the North Docks. They have reports of someone of an unsavory sort, kind of extra hairy, fitting the description of that individual that you were looking for.
Well, no time like the present, and we don't want them to get a head start, given since they got in. There's a fight they can get out if we're not fast enough.
Sounds fair.
All right, well, you know the city like the back of your hand. you want to lead the way?
Sure. Well, we will be making a quick stop on the way there. It'll help get us where we need to be going.
All right, fine. I don't question it anymore, given your
Mhm.
position and
Mhm.
such.
Sounds good. And he'll get up and because he sat down for a second, got himself a small cup of coffee, threw that back, and now it's time to go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Before you go, Lucas, you see Lucas come out from behind the bar, and he's just sort of is like holding the bar, just watching you, Ylva. And next to him, an even smaller halfling girl who looks to be, you recognize it's his sister, Sarah.
Mhm.
And they just start sort of looking at you. You see Lucas just whisper in Sarah's ear as they both are looking at you, sort of talking to Jean-Jacques. And they're just like, and you can just sort of imagine in this moment what thoughts might be running through their minds about the mysterious half elf who's also somehow connected to one of the more powerful information brokers in this city. And they see you leave and you exit the Regal Obelisk. And you are off.
Mhm.
Give me a straight intelligence check, Jean-Jacques.
That'll be, let's see, what do I add? Straight intelligence, 17.
Excellent. Yeah, on a 17, as you begin to you exit the inn, you look around and you immediately figure out which direction you actually want to go, which would be the fastest, because you do know that there are certain buildings that are under construction which narrow the roadway and make it sort of that it was just impassable and very hard to get around. So you begin to head south. You know that you're going to head down through the wow, I know the names of things into my city. You know that you have to go down through the Merc Den docks. So you're actually traveling south through the Salt Ford all the way down to, or technically east, through the Salt Ford, and then you went going through the Merc Den docks. And then you're going to cross the bridge that will bring you pretty much right alongside the more opulent, more wealthy districts of the city. Okay. Because on a 17, you actually make really good time. Ylva's very, very adept at keeping a good pace. And you begin to you traverse the city streets very quickly. Again, it's still fairly early in the morning. The massive amount of productivity and the merchant houses and the mercantile district and a lot of the blacksmith or the smithies aren't fully up and running yet, but the sounds of them sort of beginning to stir are now filling the air. As you begin to make your way down through the docks, the smell of the sea air just sort of hits both of your nostrils, and you do see many different tall ships that are off on the docks. Several of which you do see one ship in particular that sort of it stands out, and Ylva, you realize that it is a very different looking ship, and that's why it stands out to you. Jean-Jacques, you recognize it as a ship that is not from the kingdom of Nimrione. It is actually a ship. It's what looks to be a yacht that is from across the ocean. It is from Sinister.
Sinister.
Yes, it is called the Fairy Light. And you pass by the ship and you're like, oh, interesting. You make your way all the way to the bridge that crosses over into the richer portion of the city, and almost immediately you come to a cross in the roads where there is a guard post that looks like two red guard who are checking papers.
Well, this is going to take a moment, Ylva. Just give me a moment. And Jean will walk up to the guards, put on all the charm that he has, and go
Give me a quick perception check on the two guards.
perception. That is another 5.
Okay. As you sort of look over, you do notice that one of the guards you do know. And his name is Mulford. You see his helm is down, but you do see sort of the make of his chin and sort of the stubble, and you see his nose, and it's Mulford. You do know who he is. The other guard, you're not entirely sure. You do notice though that in terms of coloration, Mulford's skin looks fairly normal. The other guard, very, very pale, almost sickly looking.
Okay.
Mulford approaches you, notices you, and Master Jacques.
Yes.
What brings you to this part of the city?
Just a small delivery of a few books that were ordered by one of the uppers, as you know they like to call them down here. Just business. Taking my associate with me just to let her experience a little bit of delivery business, as it would be.
Mulford looks over in your direction, Ylva.
I just stare back at him.
Hey, Mr. Jacques, I'm don't mind me. I'm not trying to poke into your business at all. But what's up with the pointy-eared?
He looks at Ylva like, does she want to chime in about herself?
I mean, I'll step up so that he can see my ears and my scarring in my eyes, but she doesn't say anything.
Okay.
At the sort of the reveal of your eyes and your scars, Mulford sort of takes a step back.
That's very it's a lot of scars on that one's face.
Yes. She's looking to get into a new line of work. Looking to work with me a little bit on a little bit of this delivery that we need to be making. And he's gonna let the guard fill in whatever gaps he needs to, because sometimes
I'm not that actually, because it's not technically a lie, so I'm not gonna make you roll a deception check.
He's allowed to fill in whatever gaps work with his narrative.
Ylva's keeping a straight face, but if she could roll her eyes, she would, but she does not want to blow cover, but she's kind of like looking at Jacques and just like
got it. Look,
this is what happens when you yourself do not have 20 charisma, but your character does.
Mulford looks over at Ylva again, and hears your words, Jacques, and then suddenly he looks over at his partner, and just like he sees like his partner sort of just like brings it's morning time. It's like the beginning of one of their shifts, and not supposed to be falling asleep on watch, and their partner is just like and he just leans very heavily, and Mulford's like, Rasmus, what are you doing? Straighten up, lad. And Rasmus looks up very sharply at Mulford and just puts his back up against the wall and starts to just breathe. And you can see just beads of sweat on the lower portions of Rasmus's face. Rasmus does not look well. Ylva, give
I
me a
noticed this as
perception
well.
check.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was about to ask. That's a nat 20 plus 5 for 25. 20.
Nice.
Okay. Ylva, given your history, tracking many different creatures of the night, you have become very wary of certain tells when something is not above board. Something is eerie, something is slightly off. Something is definitely off about Rasmus. And you can see that as the sun has risen, Rasmus is sort of leaning up against the wall, desperately trying to not be in the light. And Mulford, meanwhile, is just you hear Mulford talking to Jean, but you it sort of like fades to the background, and you're staring very intently at Rasmus's face. Specifically, you see in the slits of the helmet his eyes, and his eyes are almost fully black.
Is there any chance I could try to grab him and pull him into the sunlight?
Sure. You do what you want.
Well, I think I take a look at John and Mulford. I've heard his name is Mulford, right?
Yes, as John said it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think he's what he used to be. And we'll just try to grab his arm and pull him into the sunlight.
Give me a strength check. I'll roll an opposed. I'll say do it with advantage because he's totally like unwell and not expecting you to suddenly grab him.
Okay. So it's a strength check, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. 18 plus 2 is a 20. Is the
nice.
Hold on 1 second. Because he rolled an 18. Let me see what his strength bonus is. Okay. He got a 19. So in this, Ylva, you say what you say, and then you sort of you come up and you grab sort of his wrist that he's like tucked in, and you like grab him down here and you yank him into the sunlight. The moment that the sun touches the area around his face, he is fully from head to toe in red armor, but there are small portions where there are either cracks in between the greaves of the plate, or there is just, especially around the face, the helm comes down over the eyes with the slit, but his nose and mouth and jaw are completely out in the open. Okay. Hey. You yank him out into the sunlight, and immediately the portions of skin that are visible to the sun suddenly begin to bubble, and like pustules just suddenly form on his skin and begin to burst, and he screams in pain, and he yanks himself back into the shadows. Are you keeping your hold, or are you just pulling him and letting go?
That is a good question. Do I want to hold on to this, what I'm supposing is a vampire, or do I want to you know what? I would pull but then let go, just to kind of prove the situation of what's happening, but then would stand back and like prepare like my bow or something.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to show to Berghoff and Jean that he's not who he was, but I don't want to, in case he tries to bite me. and all that.
So you're grabbing him, pulling him in, and then you're letting him go.
Mm-hmm. So that he falls, and then he falls back into the sunlight. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. As you let him go and he falls back into the shadows, he rights himself up immediately, and his skin stops smoking once he re-enters the shadows. At this point, Mulford looks over at Erasmus and brings up a spear, and he's like, "By the gods, what is going on? What did you do?" And he points his spear at you, Ylva, and then he looks at John and is just like, "What is this? What's going on?"
He looked ill when we first walked up, is what Jean says to kind of like steady Mulford. Let's work with him, and then we'll figure out how it happened later.
He's not what he used to be. He is what I believe has become a vampire.
What are you talking about? Vampires don't exist. They're just wives' tales.
Did you not see the skin bubbling on his face and
He
him
looks over
screaming
at
when he
Rasmus.
entered the sunlight?
In his haste to bring his weapon pointed at you, Ylva, he very quickly tries to look over at Rasmus. He rolls a nat 1 on his perception.
Yeah, of course he did.
And he looks over and just very quickly, and Ylva and Jean, you immediately see Rasmus sort of like try to conceal and cover, and you sort of just hear a faint snarl as he directs himself. He's looking at Ylva with sort of like very full eyes, full of hatred in this moment.
Look,
Oh.
if we don't
No, go
act
ahead.
soon, Mulford, I fear that this is going to get much more out of hand than it already is.
All right. Listen, you're just here for books, right?
Yes.
I'll attend to him. I just get out of here. Go.
And you see he whistles, and you just like suddenly you see 2 other Red Guard begin to approach from an opposite direction behind you, and he gestures, just get through the checkpoint.
Jean seems like he's ready to go through the checkpoint, but does wait for Ylva.
I think no, I don't think. Yeah, no, I think she'll just keep her eyes on the thing, and then seeing the guard coming up will follow Jean, knowing that too much attention might not be a good idea. But
yeah,
it was one thing that had to be brought up. Excited to hear what Jean had to hear about what she did.
Yeah.
You guys make your way into the checkpoint. You see 2 other guards on the opposite side. They also wave you through, and then they join. They move to join Mulford and the 2 other guards. They sort of come around Rasmus and sort of like hem him in, just not sure what's going on with him. He's sort of like struggled he still looks very ill from your perspective, very weak, and he has a burn on his face now.
Well, that was an interesting start to this little stroll of ours. On to the next thing, and Jean will kind of make a quick beeline to the delivery point for his books, and make good on what he said, on his word, in case anybody asks later. But when he comes back through the checkpoint, who knows? Maybe we went out for a little bit of that high life with the uppers.
Okay.
Yeah, Ylva will follow. Kind of thankful that you did not ask her about, why she acted that way, and that you believed her. She doesn't say that out loud, but
look, when you deal in secrets, you understand there are sometimes things you don't know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have work.
Yes, just as something I noticed, and with what we have to do. Had to at least be brought up. Maybe could have killed it right then there, but there are other guards, and as much as I hate to say it, I don't want...
Oh,
no, go ahead.
Continue. Oh, and you have bigger fish to fry.
Yes, and as much as I hate to say it, I do not want to cause more trouble for you. And she struggles to say you.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. I have my ways of getting out of trouble, mostly in the city.
Confidence.
Helps to know people. Helps to know people. Helps to have information on most of them.
You're having this conversation as you're making your way towards the governor's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you travel for about the next 5 minutes, just talking between the two of you, and eventually you do arrive at the doorstep of this one particular governor's manse, which seems to be built directly up against the wall surrounding Winterhold Keep. So by that, Jean, that this particular patron client of yours, they are wealthy in terms of, the amount of money they have, but they might be lacking in terms of the amount of power they can bring to bear. And that's why they're not on the inside of Winterhold Keep. So, yes, you are at the doorstep of this particular mansion.
He's going to try and quickly take care of this quick errand, delivering the appropriate tomes.
Does he want... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, does he want Ylva to be there, or does he want to be alone based on what happened last?
He says he can handle this probably by himself. Just kind of keep an eye out.
Yes.
Watch my back, kind of just in case if any more sickly guards show up.
This kind of rolls her eyes and then just turns and starts basically doing a watch as you do your thing.
Yeah.
So you're approaching the door and okay, all right. You approach the door, you knock on the door, and there's about a minute pause, and suddenly the door opens, and out from behind the door you see what looks to be one of the main servants of the house. Just a slight female human dressed in sort of very upper class servant finery. And you see her peek her, she's like brunette with very green eyes. Yes. What may I do for you?
Yes. Sorry to impose. I just have a quick delivery for your the master of the house. And he'll reach into his breast pocket and pull out the appropriate tomes with all of the secret messages encoded within that most would miss, wrapped in a nice like parchment paper with like ribbon around it too, as well as a seal upon it, just so it's also sealed into the package. Just a quick delivery drop off from from written wisdom.
Oh, yes. Do you want to come in and wait with your... She looks past Jean just to where Ylva is. And with your companion?
No, we're fine. It's just a quick stop by.
Oh, well, in that case, I will take the correspondence and the books, and I will return with your coin.
Okay.
So she takes the books from you, and she's gone for about 3 minutes, and then she returns, with a very nice bag of what looks to be 30 pieces of gold.
Awesome. That just goes right into the jacket pocket. Thank you.
She then says, "Is that will that be all?"
That's it. Thank you. Thank you for assisting in this.
My pleasure. And you see that she sort of blushes, just with her interaction with you. Just she doesn't see many tieflings, and so she very slowly closes the door as she's sort of like peeking out from behind it, and then the door closes and she's lost to sight.
Ylva turns and sees this happening as she's closing the door, and it's just kind of like. Do you always get admirers on your drop-offs?
At hazard of the job.
Depending on the type.
It's a hazard.
A hazard. Well, you should come with the warning signs then. All right, moving on.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
At this point, it's about just turning about 10 o'clock in the morning. Now you know that Jean, you know this, that basically you have to head south again. You don't have to cross back through the checkpoint. You would actually head due east down to the North Docks.
Yep.
From this point, Winterhold Keep is directly in front of you. You would head down the south side of the walls, and you would head down this very ornate staircase that goes down the seawall all the way to it's just called the White Steps of Ashcaleen. You give me a history check real quick. I'll say with advantage because you're from here.
Knows the city like the back of his hand.
History. So that's a 21.
Okay. Yes, the White Steps of Ashcaleen. It used to be this very this whole portion of the city during the human civil war between the North and South kingdoms. It used to be a very beautiful portion, almost like a hanging gardens. People would have these gardens that would hang off the White Steps, and then people would bring their boats up alongside the seawall and smell the rare flowers that would grow there. Since the North Docks have been transformed from a seagoing vessel port into a place that is now very industrial and currently putting together the sky ships that are being made there, the sky skiffs. It has become very apparent that is no longer the case with this part of the city anymore. Also, the fact that Ilfang Prison is being used in the way that it is being used. But yes, you begin to descend down the White Steps, and you make your way down to the North Docks. And directly ahead of you is this very large square structure that ascends into the sky. It's not tall enough to be a tower, but you do know that is Ilfang Prison. And sort of around the top, the perimeter of the top of the building is platforms that extend off of it, where they are building what looks to be two larger sky ships and one sky skiff, which is sky. It's basically this a smaller sky ship.
Well, the North Docks.
Ylva's just looking at the surroundings and then. So, what's the best way in, or will we have to deal with security of some sort?
There'll probably be some security of some sort. And Jean kind of thinks for a moment as he's like, how does he think that is the best way to get in? Well,
give me another history check.
That's a nat 20. This isn't his first rodeo.
Yeah.
As
you sort of ponder the best way to get in, there are multiple ways of ingress and egress for Ilfang Prison. Several of which you've tried just because starting off very early in your days as an information broker here in Ashcaleen, you kind of had to get your hands a little more dirty because you didn't have employees. But you have entered and left Ilfang prison with people being none the wiser before. Because some of the informants that work for you are in Ilfang. As you begin to descend the white steps, your mind sort of very quickly puts together a plan of action, or several plans of action that could be possible. There's always going through the front entrance, charming your way into the prison, as you have done before. There's also through the main sewers that are actually fairly well kept. Because of just the nature of the building itself. You need to be able to have good plumbing for a prison, or else they're a problem. And then, of course, there is a portion of the outside westerly wall where the bricks have degraded in such a way where there's almost a step that ascends up to one prison window, which you have personally loosened the bars and the mortar around the bars so that you're able to enter and start from the top as opposed to the bottom. So really, it's all up to you.
So, Ylva, do we want to do this cloak and dagger or a little bit of smoke and swagger?
That is literally the name of the song that just played, Cloak and Dagger.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah.
Really? That's what you're calling it? That's what you're calling
Yes.
these ones?
Yes. Well, we can either sneak in through two different entrances, or we can try and use a little bit of the goodwill and currency that I've built up there to enter through the front door. There's been a couple times where a few needy prisoners have needed somebody able to navigate local law and customs for them. I believe it's called a lawyer.
Don't tell me that's like I'm dumb. I know what
Lawyers
a
are
lawyer
canon
is.
now in this world. Just like that. It's a one-shot, and you already are creating stuff. This is great.
Lawyers.
There are lawyers. There are solicitors in this.
Yes. I could try and take that angle as, trying to help out somebody in need of legal representation, as well as my associate. Or we can make life a little bit possibly easier and sneak through the sewers. Either way, it's a good time.
Well, given the fact...
Oh, and there's also this window over here.
How tall up is the window?
How tall is the window that goes all the way up?
Yeah.
So it would be a climbing maneuver. You would be climbing up these sort of like, because of the degradation in the walls, they've made a little bit of a staired ledge as it goes up one portion and then sort of zigzags across to the side of the building. But the thing of it is that the stairs get smaller as you get up, so it gets harder and harder. But it's about 50 feet up in the air.
50 feet, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I have ideas, but first Ylva will say, well, given what we just came across, you can understand why maybe I may not trust many guards due to the fact that they could be undead. And I don't know if that's a predicament we want to get ourselves into. But I might have some... What did you say? Cloak and daggers? Or what was the shadows and smoke? What?
Oh, smoke and swagger.
Smoke, yes, of course.
Swagger.
Yeah. I'm more partial to the latter, but what are your thoughts? I'm partial to the latter.
I think possibly through the sewer is our best bet. Mostly because Jean looks at his suit arms. I'm not really dressed for climbing right now. And actually he's gonna try and use deception because he's not very strong for climbing.
Is there any chance I can go ahead?
Oh. This is the nat one. I love it.
Can I roll to see?
This nat one was what? For what again?
Oh, to play off
Deceive.
to Ylva that like he's just not dressed for climbing today, and it was because he did this much younger in his youth when he was a little bit stronger and spry.
Okay.
Do I need to make a roll to see if I see through this lie? Even though it's a nat one.
I mean, it's an insight check. So give me an insight check.
That's a nat one as well, but it's a +2, so it's a 3. Does that beat your deception?
My critical failed deception is a 9.
Is a 9, okay.
Okay.
Well, it makes sense with insight because she doesn't trust a lot of people, and it's just like,
You can't tell whether it's you can't tell. Here's the thing. You are normally it's very easy for you to ascertain whether someone is lying about something. The thing is that the way that Jean has sort of exaggerated a lot of these details about why they can't go certain ways, you're not entirely sure why they would lie about that, but if it was important enough for them to lie about it, maybe just trust them anyway. So maybe we don't ascend the walls.
Is this the DM telling me that I can't climb? Okay, fine. I had something cool I wanted to do, but it's fine.
Oh, if you'd rather climb, Jean's just not excited about it.
I mean,
with his 11 strength.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Wibbly arms.
Yeah, no. It's just I don't even know if this would be possible, but DM, regarding one of my features with they touched, there's something in there that I can do, but I can only do it myself and I can't take anybody with me, right?
What specifically are you trying to do?
Oh, I know what it is.
Would it be would I be able to Misty Step part of the way up and then like climb?
I mean, you could definitely Misty Step. With Misty Step though, I'm not sure if you can take somebody with you.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't. So yeah, it would just be yourself.
It would just be myself. Yeah. You know what? It's probably best that we stick together since you know the city better than I do, so fine. Sewers, fine.
Through the sewers.
Yeah, and she's like very pouty and just is like just fine.
Ylva, you've never seen somebody just so excited and also relieved to be going into a sewer.
Gives her like another look of just like,
You fucking kidding me?
And it's just like, maybe it's now after that insight has started to put 2 and 2 together of the whole thing. It's just like, and just does that. Doesn't say anything. Just
he'll try and blend into whatever crowds there are, and
so around
move
Ilfang
towards the
prison,
sewers.
Around Ilfang prison, so there is a canal that goes to the ocean. Where there's the runoff from the sewers goes and travels down the canal and then is emptied into the bay. So you do know that you enter this canal and you make your way up. There are different watch towers that are around that are always occupied by Red Guard. Give me a perception check.
Oh my god, it's worse. It's a 4.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like none of these. It looks like, as far as you can tell, it looks like the watchtowers. They might be mid-shift. You can't really tell if they're occupied currently.
He'll still try and stealth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, can I cast Pass Without a Trace on us?
Ooh, yes.
By all means.
Yeah, Pass Without a Trace. So
what does this look like?
Oof. I should have come up with something clever for this. I think for a bit she will close her eyes, and then when they open, instead of the rainbow, they sort of turn into this like purple. So then it kind of is like this purple mist that kind of drifts about that only Ylva and Jean can see, and sort of just is kind of around them to at least somewhat blend in with the crowd that they are in, like kind of as if they're people that are walking by that don't look like themselves, and add that space. So we're now stealthing into the sewers right now is what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So as you're standing in the main thoroughfare and you're looking at Ilfang prison, and you're sort of like, you've had this conversation, and there are definitely there are workers that are sort of milling about, getting the day started, or have the day started at this point. You do see that there are some more noble looking folk who are also present, as they also, just force of habit, they have always walked the white steps of Ashcaleen, as many of their families have done before them. And so this is just tradition, even though the surroundings of this neighborhood or this part of the city have changed drastically, as industry has come full force to the North Docks. You do also, as you were casting this spell, you hold it for a second, and then suddenly, Jean, you notice that the normally rainbow-colored eyes of Ylva suddenly pick a color, and they grow just bright purple. And this smoke sort of just passes around you and over you. And give me your stealth rolls.
Okay. All right.
And then add 10.
And then plus the other stealth thing. Okay. Okay.
That'll be a 24 from Jacques.
24
so
total?
I rolled...
Yeah, total.
Total 24. Okay.
Yeah. Rolled a 7.
Well, I rolled a 3, but plus a 7, and then plus a 10, so a flat 20.
Yeah.
Unnatural 20.
Okay. All right. Okay. As you begin to move through the crowd, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you see this magic sort of suddenly exit from Ylva. Jean, what is your reaction?
Quizzicalness. He's curious, but he's not going to ask about it.
Okay. Are you both beginning, or Jean, are you beginning to lead Ylva towards the sewers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You begin to make your way. So you're in the main thoroughfare. As you begin to pass through it, lining the streets, that looks very much like an open air market. But all of these market bazaar stalls are selling tools to the workers who are working on the docks. And you're moving through them, and as you're moving through them, you do see 2 single file lines of not red guard, but white, bald, human presenting men in red robes with symbols upon their heads. And you see them moving towards Ilfang prison. You do know that these are the red mages. And you know that they are sort of shrouded in mystery. Like, even you, with the information that you've accumulated and having your hands and feet working within the city, it's difficult to get any read or getting any correspondence or information about these individuals.
Okay.
But you begin to make your way through the bazaar and past it, and then into it's more of a broken down sort of residential area. It's very poorer dock living. And you make your way down through the alleyways. As it comes down to the end of this alley, then terminates in the canal that then extends all the way east towards Ilfang.
All right. Well, that was handy. Let's next part of the plan. He's gonna look for how to get into the sewer system.
So you're getting into the canal and you're moving through the. Okay. Give me. No, I'm not going to make you do that. So you begin to move fairly quickly, keeping pace. Ylva, you're able to keep pace right along with Jean as they begin to make their way. And despite the fact that you're making your way through sewage and refuse. But in this moment, you have a goal, you have intention, and that is sort of what is the main focus of your mind. You've been in worse places than this.
Oh yeah, no,
worse,
it's
worse environments. And
Yes.
Jean, this is old, this old chestnut. You've done this before. So you begin to make your way east along the canal, and on either side you see the different guard posts or the watchtowers, and they are definitely occupied, manned by 2 red guard apiece. And you pass by the first one. No recognition, nothing in terms of alarm. Everything seems to be okay. No one sees you, it seems. As you begin to make your way past the second one of the guards definitely looks over in your general direction. But in this moment, suddenly this purple smoke, not perceptible to him, but definitely to you, comes up and obscures your visage, and you can see past it. He is not able to see you in this moment.
Ooh.
You begin to travel even further, and there is a third guard post, the last guard post, and the 2 guards, they seem to be in a bit of an argument with each other, and they do not notice you.
What are they arguing about?
Give me a perception check.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it. Get the gossip.
Nope, I don't. Nope, that's a nat 1 plus a 5, so a 6. I'm just focused on my goal. I'm just like,
you're very focused. You pick up just a handful of words. It sounds like wife, slept, my, and that's all you heard.
People aren't loyal these days.
As you make your way, you suddenly come to this lower archway that has these bars. Basically, picture the perfectly useless sewer runoff at Helm's Deep, where you're like, why this is a fortress? Why is there a weak point like this in the walls? Doesn't make any sense. It's almost like they're asking for trouble. It's a plot device. But you see this stone archway that definitely enters the core of Ilfang prison, or at least the upper part of it. And there's definitely a current here, as it's like the main source as it's coming out, and then there are iron bars that are just that are holding like some of the more solid stuff at bay. Not to be too graphic, but that's what it's doing. Jean, give me a history check.
So
that's another nat 20.
Jean.
Another nat 20 for Jean.
Okay.
He's done a lot of jobs here.
It's been a couple years since you've had to get into Ilfang prison. Some of your more loyal contributors, some of them have been put to death. And so you don't have as much occasion to enter Ilfang prison anymore. You go there sometimes to see if you can, pull up a new informant or maybe train somebody. But some of them, more loyal ones are gone now. But you do remember that one of the iron bars, it's the second to middle one. It has a loose mortar piece that you're able to sort of like jockey the thing, and it sort of comes loose, giving yourself enough space for you and Ylva to get inside.
Yep.
Squeeze right on in there.
Yep. Jean allows the lady to go in first into the sewer like a true gentleman.
Oh, I'm so flattered.
I wonder if he isn't dead.
I wonder if there's also another reason why that he's making her go first. But she goes along with this, just like just goes on in, knowing that he's putting her as bait.
No, and then he slides in right after.
Inside check. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. You, both of you have dark vision. One of you has dark vision. Yes. Okay. So you travel past the main archway that you just came through for about 7 minutes. as you begin to make your way. It's just a canal with little shelves on the side where engineers might have at one time traveled. You do so 120 feet of dark vision. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, give me a perception check.
Yeah, I have half of that, 60 feet.
That's a 9.
Okay.
We're slowly getting better at this perception thing.
All right. As you begin to make your way through, you almost miss one of the two passageways.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a right one and a left one, and you know that you need to take the left one.
Mm-hmm.
But you almost miss it in the dark because you're just like you haven't been here, and suddenly you feel like Ylva just be like, and you see Ylva just sort of point to either one.
Doesn't say anything, just points at you. Just as this.
Ah, yes, this one.
Yeah, you gesture. John gestures over at the left one. You begin to
Third
proceed down the left hallway, and about 30 seconds later, you suddenly see a slot for a torch, which has a torch in it, and you what looks to be every like 30 or so feet, you see a spot for a torch.
Is that the way?
Yeah, this way, and he'll start heading that way.
Okay. You travel for another 2 minutes or so, and then you see a ladder at the very end of this hallway, a ladder that extends up to what looks to be a wooden trapdoor of sorts.
Up we go.
Up we go. Are you gonna make Ylva go first again, or are you gonna go first this time?
Jean will go first this time because it seems like this is gonna be a thing now.
And just kind of like raises an eyebrow for you to go up first.
Sure.
Look back and then like heads up. How much time has passed since I first cast Pass Without a Trace?
At this point, it will have been about 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay, cool. Because it's concentration up to an hour. So if there's any more stealth, then
you're still good.
Making sure.
So, Jean, you get all the way up to you see there's a very large metal ring hanging down where you are allowed to like grab and then hoist the door open. Ylva, you are right along up behind Jean. Okay.
Not a pretty sight, but I'm sorry, from below.
Yeah.
Sorry.
At this point, Jean, you slowly open the trapdoor, creaks. You see directly ahead of you a long hallway that has a lit torch at the end of it, and then there's what looks to be an open room that has a table with several red guard around it, and looks to be about 3 red guard, and then off to the back portion, it looks like there are instruments of interrogation and torture.
I mean, this was always the room with the juiciest secrets.
What do you mean by that as you hear her down below, like looking up your tailcoats? I imagine maybe your tail comes out just like close to hitting her face. Just like, keep that in check, will you?
Oh, sorry. There's a few of our red friends up here. Best be quiet. And he's gonna try and stealth to the next point.
Okay.
So
I'll say, yeah, I'm gonna ask you to re-roll stealth checks for this because it is an indifferent environment than you were in before.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Reroll.
It's another 7, so another 24.
12 plus 9 plus 7 is 19 plus 10 is 29.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. Ylva, despite the fact that this is not ground that you are familiar with, it is not ground that is something that you're native to, You've been able to sort of like hack this a little bit. You're moving with surprising alacrity, and you are moving just swiftly and quietly. Just the footsteps that you make barely making any sound at all, as Jean is directly ahead of you, hugging the wall as you both begin to proceed down this hallway. As you begin to get closer, you begin to hear pieces of conversation. You hear one of the Red Guard say,
"Huh. That beastie definitely was able to handle a lot more than I was expecting. He'll be stuck here a long time. We'll probably get another shot at him, a couple hours." The other Red Guard, like, "Oh yeah, just I wonder what they're gonna do with him. I wonder if they're gonna bring him up to the ooze."
The other Red Guard immediately grabs the other one by the shoulder and says,
"You're not supposed to mention the ooze. Just don't talk about it at all. It's bad luck. It's bad luck to talk about it."
the guard who just mentioned it says,
I don't know why we can't just talk about the ooze. We all know that it's there. We all know that that bastard blood-sucking child up in the Winterhold Keep has a pet. We all know about it.
The first Red Guard,
"I think that we should just stop talking and just go back to our shift and just, check up on the prisoners, do what we normally do, and, head home since we're near the end of it." The other guards immediately just nod and begin to get up, clear. It looks like they were eating some lunch at this point, and they clear the table. You do see on the there looks to be several instruments of torture and interrogation, some of which is for stretching people. But there's also some chains on the walls. Ylva, give me a perception check.
Wait, hold on. 18.
As you sort of like almost give a cursory glance at some of the things in the room, suddenly your eye keys in on the chain, as it is made of pure silver. And there is dripping from the manacles on the wall blood.
Looks like they got some fun with our furry little friend already.
Mm.
And it seems that there's more monsters within your city than people are letting on.
What city doesn't have its monsters in the sewer, for lack of a better term?
I'm not denying you there, but keeping it secret always? I understand some benefits sometimes, but not always for the sake of make-believe, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't people know the truth?
Maybe. But also, sometimes when you know the truth, you can't find peace again. It's telling the right truth at the right time. That's the art.
Ylva stays silent about that and says, "Right, enough sentimental, crappy, syrupy, whatever rant I just went on right now. Why don't we try to find that furry creature before he goes for another round too?"
Mm-hmm.
As you begin to move into the room, the Red Guard have moved down the hall, then around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Jean, you definitely remember this area of the prison, but it looks like since the last time you were here, there have been certain modifications made to it. You do see along one of the side walls, there are circular crystals that have been placed within the walls. And you see that these, what look to be, and you've heard about them before, but they look to be scrying crystals. And they look to be monitoring portions of Ilfang prison.
Mm-hmm.
just continuously scrying on different parts. Basically, for everyone, these are security cameras.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yes.
Modern association.
There we go.
Mhm.
You do see the red guard in the scrying crystals as they have moved off down one of these hallways. You do see also that in one of these cells, which looks to be on the level above where you are, there is what looks to be a night howler.
Well, got the location.
Ylva just kind of stares it down and is just very like. She kind of almost snarls herself, but just like. How and which way?
Does he kind of remember the layout to get up there
Give me a history
from
check.
where there?
With advantage, I'll say.
Advantage.
And double checking, this is in full form. It's not in its humanoid form, right?
It's not in its humanoid form.
That would be a 12.
12.
Look, usually he talked his way in here.
Based off of what you can see in the scrying crystals, but also just the vaguest remembrance that you have of how the prison is laid out, you do know that there is a hallway which the Red Guard have traveled down, and then it goes to a T, and they're going left, or they're going right, and you need to go left, up a set of long stairs that then ascend to the next level. They're going right, and then down stairs that go down to the bottom level.
Okay. We best be quick and remember. They can watch.
Leads the way. It
Yep.
just like slowly turns to follow John, still with a scowl on her face.
As you begin to go down the hallway, you do see that on both sides there are parts of it that are open jail cells. Not open, but you do see that there are bars in place. And you see you rolled a 29 and a 21 or 24. 29 and a 24.
Yeah.
So yeah, you move past and none of the occupants seem to notice that you're there as you move incredibly quietly and stealthily down this hallway. You eventually get to the T and you start to head up this set of stairs. You reach the very top and you suddenly hear the rumbling of an explosion.
Ooh.
But it doesn't sound like it's coming from inside the prison. It sounds like it's coming from the main, like from your remembrance, Jean. You would enter from the main gate area, and you would then come in. There would be two guard posts or guard buildings, and then you would have the main entrance to Ilfang Prison. It sounds, based off of what you can recollect, it sounds like it's coming from the outside.
Okay.
Does that mean we should double our movements then to get faster?
It might also be a good distraction. They might be more concerned about whatever that sound was. And yeah, let's move a little quicker, just in case.
Right. Started Irish. I'm not Irish. I'm Zemian. Sorry. Going back and forth with my accents.
It's okay.
So you're doubling your, okay, so you're moving, I'll say, give me another stealth check, because you are moving at a higher rate.
Still with passive traces up, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. It hasn't been an hour yet.
That's another 29, baby.
There we go.
28 from Jean.
Okay. Ylva, calling on all of the stealth abilities that you've learned and you've practiced over the years. You are a shadow moving along the walls here. Jean, you, not to be outdone, because you feel like you have been slightly outdone by this half elf,
It's okay.
especially in an environment that you actually know fairly well, and you like suddenly like gotta represent, and you begin to like also sort of mirror their steps as you both travel incredibly stealthily down this passageway. You get past the top of the steps and you begin to you take a left, and it's at this point you get about halfway down, and Ylva, you on your right in the cell is the Night Howler.
She kind of yeah. Oh yeah, you rolled something. I wonder what it is.
Where's my phone?
That means it's either a nat 1 or a nat 20. Okay, here we go. Just kind of turns to the beast and just kind of is kind of like staring it down, and I think will like look to Jean. It's like, do you think it matters so much if it's killed in its cell, or does it need to be taken out first?
This is a you choice. I am not jury, judge, nor executioner.
The cell's locked, yes?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how much help it would be, but I could misty step inside. I don't know if that's a good thing to do.
As you begin to ponder the best course of action,
here we go.
The form on the sort of the huddled form on the floor, which is still fairly large in size, moves with blistering speed. Springing from the ground, it suddenly reaches and tries to grab at Jean. Jean, give me an athletics check.
Ooh.
How close am I to Jean?
Like 5 feet away.
Athletics?
I have a reaction prepared depending on the situation. I have a reaction.
This thing is trying to grab Jean. And like
okay. Yeah, all right.
That would be a can I use acrobatics at all?
Sure.
That'll be an 11. If you can use acrobatics, 11. Yeah.
I have a reaction. When a creature within 5 of you makes an attack against a target other than you, can use a reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the creature itself. Sentinel.
Okay. I will. Okay. All right. So he got a 14. Does a 14 make your AC?
14 does not make my AC. His claws strike against what looks like the suit jacket, and it's just the shadows seem to solidify with like almost like a little glint of sulfurous smell as the claws hit that shadow armor, and doesn't pierce through. AC 17.
Does Sentinel activates when the target is hit, right? Or just when it is attacked?
Let me double check. It makes an attack against a target other than you.
Yeah, you get the reaction. So go ahead.
You know what? Yeah. I think I'm going to use dagger because that's a hit. That's a +7. So I'm going to do that. So let me do that. That would be an 8. Oh, wait. Oh, that's that? Oh, okay. Never mind. That's a 20. I thought it rolled something for a 13. So it's a 20.
Roll damage. Definitely hit.
All right. Where's my D4? Okay. Max damage 4 + 4 is 8.
Nice.
So 8 slashing damage. The initial attack, reaching through the bars with his claws, trying to grab at you, Jean, immediately his claws make impact with your mage armor. The smoke and the sulfury smell suddenly permeates this portion of the dungeon as the smoke just creates a barrier. The claws glance harmlessly off, but in that moment, Ylva, almost expecting it with blinding speed reaction, just and chops the fingers off of this creature as it tries to lunge at you. With just a clean motion, the Night Howler's face is just marked in horror as it looks down at its claws that are no longer there. As you have basically declawed the werewolf.
Yeah.
That's what I call Ylva the Lone Wolf. Sorry, I'm excited.
The thing just looks in horror and it howls loudly in pain.
Also, for all the viewers out there, do not declaw your werewolf, your pet werewolf.
Yeah, no, don't.
Declawing
No,
werewolf.
yes,
We need to
no.
put that right here.
Yeah, in this case, it's a yes, but
Yes.
normal circumstances, no, don't declaw your werewolves. Or any
I didn't
claw
even think of
creatures.
that. I didn't even think of that when I said it. I was just like, oh wait, we really want to be
But-
humane to our werewolves. And
This is
Not Ylva.
other-
No. Here, not
This is
Ylva.
when
No.
Yeah, not here. This is different. But this is where the arms of the angel will play with a little like be nice to your werewolf.
Sarah McLachlan. All right.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
declawed werewolf stands in horror, howling in pain. Just blood just starts to gush from the stubs that are his fingers in this moment. His fingers just lying in just a pool of blood down on the floor. Ylva, you just and immediately bring your dagger back to its sheath. In just a flurry of suddenly, Jean, your mage armor goes up, blocking off the attack, but then suddenly there are no claws in front of you. Ylva, what is your reaction to the sudden appearance of smoke and the smell of sulfur?
Ooh, I can't. I feel like I gotta remember what it is, but it's like my brain is like just kind of goes that. But I think that smell would just kind of it gets her back into that kind of like almost a growling snarl as it kind of like focuses on this night howler, and it's just like, you knew this end was coming. Don't fight it.
As you, so you're saying that out loud.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
He's just pissed right now.
As you say that, the smoke around Jean dissipates, and the werewolf, still with its hands outside the bars, looking at its claws, looks up at you. You bitch. You bitch. Ah! And just he screams and just rages in this moment as he tries to grab onto the bars, but he doesn't have any fingers left anymore. And he just raging completely futilely. It's just like, you're gonna get yours. You're not gonna make it out of this city alive. And you begin to see the more humanoid features return to his face as he drops his werewolf form. Still completely defingered human looking.
Stubby
creature.
hands.
Actually, you'd be Elvish, correct?
Yeah, I speak Elvish, yes. That's one of my languages.
No, but he is Elvish.
Oh, he's Elvish. Okay.
Yeah. You see this this Elvish man, and you see he has like scars across his face and across his chest as he stands before you fully naked in this moment. As he loses the clothes when he enters werewolf form. And he looks at you, Jean, just with pure hatred in his eyes. And Ylva, it's like there's pure hatred for Jean because he missed the mark, but then he sees you and he knows who you are. And he spits just this venomous hatred at you, and he just looks at you dead in the eye and says, This city is not long for this world. You're all going to die. And I'm not going to live much longer here. This whole place will burn.
Do you want me to make it quick for you, Zen?
You're saying that to him.
Yes.
Give me an intimidation check. Actually, make it a persuasion.
Okay. Yeah, it's only a 9 altogether.
I'll let you roll with advantage, given the fact that you just cut this guy's fingers off.
Okay. All right. That's better with a 16.
Okay. This offer of yours gives him pause. His anger seems to subside slightly as he takes in and weighs in this moment the potential pros and cons of dying swiftly by your blade or meeting an unknown end with whatever might be happening in his perception of what is actually going on in this city. And he looks down at his declawed hands. Just bloody stubs at this point. And his shoulders drop as suddenly this look of defeat, complete defeat, comes across his face. He drops his hands and he comes all the way up to the bars and he tilts his head, giving you a bare neck in this moment. And he says,
"Make it quick, but know this. Whatever feeling of victory you might feel in this moment, I hope it sticks in your throat and that you choke on it."
Okay, that changed kind of what I was gonna do a little bit. So I think she just coldly stares blank at it and it's just like kind of grabs the back of his neck to make sure that he doesn't move, brings the blade towards his neck.
what is
It's like-
Jean doing? Just out of curiosity.
Jean is metaphorically eating his popcorn. He is just like, this is great. He's like, I'm making notes. This might end up like being slipped into the ending of books in my shop. Who knows? Like, this is great. Like, he's entertained. Unfortunately. He's like, revenge plot, love it. Signed on. Wasn't quite sure if we were taking somebody out or murdering somebody, but this works for me. So
And
he's just having a great time.
Yeah. So Ylva grasps the back of his neck to make sure he doesn't move, puts the blade to his throat.
It's an actual dagger.
It's
You have an
yeah, this
Oh,
yes. I wasn't sure if I should bring it out of the sheath because of for purposes of being like, oh, like, you know, so that's why I took
Yeah.
the sheath right now.
this dagger is for purposes of cosplay only.
Yeah.
Only for cosplay.
Always remember to handle your blades responsibly.
Exactly.
Otherwise, TikTok will take you down.
Yes. I always have to put the prop warning thing. But yeah, holds the back of the neck, puts it to his neck and says, out of all the ones I've killed, you've had the best ending speech. So I'll make it as brief as possible. And then just
Fuck.
Awesome.
Jean's
like metal as hell.
He offers no struggle in this moment,
Mhm.
but the last thing that he does as the blade pierces his neck and there's just a gout of blood that just explodes from his artery as you very expertly execute him in this moment.
Mhm.
The last thing he does is smile at you. This once powerful built elf, granted cursed with lycanthropy, but was once a powerful elf nonetheless. Blood pouring from his neck, he just sort of looks at you, smiles with like 1,000-yard stare, eyes very briefly tilt towards Jean, expressionless, and then slumps down on the stone floor and is no more.
Just
What do you all do now?
Not to interrupt this touching moment that has just occurred, but there was that explosion and he seemed really concerned that he was going to die in the cell one way or another. So I think we better skedaddle.
really quick, she takes the blood, wipes off the blade. She puts it to her lips, explaining the mark on her lips of the last person. So it's now a brighter purplish red. She's the sword, turns to you, is like, let's run for it, and
Okay.
dash on out.
So you're dashing the way you came.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You make your way all the way down. You get down to the ladder. You make your way all the way down to the ladder, down to the sewer area. You spend the next. This all takes about 8 minutes since you're moving fairly quickly. The sound and din and vibration of impacts and the sound and clattering of weapons fills the air as you begin to get closer to the outside of Ilfang Prison. You see the light ahead of you in the arch, and you get all the way to the arch, and you see the loose iron bar that's sort of held in place by the loose mortar there, and you yank it out, and do you gesture for Ylva to go first again?
Also, still got the blood splatter like on her clothes, like it's a little bit dirty, so it's like she looks more intimidating. It's like,
do you want to go first? He's not sure what the protocol is in this situation when you're escaping prison, while murdering somebody in prison, where chivalry goes. So he'll kind of actually take a moment to listen to the outside to see how close the sounds of combat are.
That's a good idea.
Give me a perception check.
Oh. Sorry, my head
still a
hurting.
4.
Is there a chance I can make it? No, you could. I was gonna ask to do a perception. I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Whether it's just how distracted you are by looking at Ylva still spattered with blood from this dead night howler, or it's just the fact that it's the distance you have away from the sounds of whatever conflict is happening at the main gates and above on the surface. You're not able to ascertain specifically. You just know that it's happening. And you know that whatever's happening up there is big. What was the total for what you rolled?
4.
Yeah. You sort of knock the pipe out. I need you guys to give me a fresh round of stealth checks.
Okay. Fast Without a Trace still up, or is it over by now?
Oh no, it's still up. You guys didn't waste any time. You guys were so stealthy, you were able to move fairly quickly throughout the whole portion of the prison you were in.
19.
You rolled 19, okay.
Yeah.
25.
19 and 25. Okay. You begin to make your way out, you down the canal. I rolled 2 2s and a 6. You pass by the guard towers. The first guard tower, the one where you heard the argument, the guard tower is empty. You pass by the second tower. That guard tower is empty. The third, completely all empty. So it seems, based off of an educated guess, it seems that whatever conflict is happening has pulled the attention of these watchtowers.
That's not good.
You've made your way past these watchtowers. You then get to the area, the steps where you first descended into the canal. You climb out, you get all the way down the alleyway back to where you came, down through the bazaar. The street is empty in this moment. Whether it's the frenetic pace at which you've just managed to escape and sort of the rush that, you guys got out of there really easily, you almost don't notice the sound and the hum of an airship or a skyship that is moving very close right above you as it crests over the top of one of the buildings. And you see, you are witnessing this massive skyship. On the very front of this skyship, there is a platform that extends from it. Atop this platform is one of the red mages, and they are hurling firebolt after firebolt down at something off in another direction. But you're looking at it, you're looking off in that direction, and it's like they're shooting blindly at something. You can't tell what is there. But it's something that they're moving and they're shooting at something, but it's just you can't tell what it could be. On a 12, was it 12 and a 9?
Yeah, 12 and a 9.
Yeah, but you do hear this hum, and you do see this skyship above you as it moves. They do not seem to notice you in this moment.
Okay.
I don't know what your plans are, if you're planning on staying or getting the hell out of the city, but I think my welcome has been overstayed, and I should probably make tracks.
Jean's thought process is, for whatever's going on in the city, he doesn't need to be here for it. He is thinking the best exit at this point is probably taking a boat out of the harbor, because we are at the northern port. So how do you feel about sailing, Ylva?
You've known me for this whole time. You still can't pronounce my damn name.
Look, it's been a day, okay?
A week. A week.
Well, today has been a day.
Rolls her eyes, grabs your head, and says, "To the docks," and just
yeah. We're gonna make our way to the docks.
You're going to the North Docks. Okay, so
remembering that there is a yacht there. This could become a yacht heist very quickly.
So you are making your way. You are making your way not to the North Docks, but to the South Docks, the ones in Merkden, the Merkden Docks.
Oh,
where you saw the yacht.
Oh no, then we're gonna go to the North Docks just to grab a boat.
So the North Docks, they don't have seafaring vessels anymore, as they've been converted to building the sky ships.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And so in order to get to the place where you saw the boats earlier, that was the South Docks. That's Merkden.
Yeah. Merkden is probably still easier to get out of.
Merkden is.
Yeah.
Merkden.
Okay. So you're headed in that direction. You ascend the White Steps. As you make your way, you see Winterhold Keep. As you begin to make your way up the White Steps, you look behind you, Ylva, as you begin to quicken the pace, keeping up with Jean, and you see that skyship. Again, this red mage is hurling firebolt after firebolt. You're not seeing what they're aiming at. But just above you, you hear the faintest sound of a humming, a familiar humming, but it's more high-pitched and a smaller sound than the one that the larger skyships make. But all you hear is the humming. You don't see anything.
I let Jean know. Okay, there might be something else around here that I'm hearing. I don't know if I like the sound of this. We keep moving forward and pressure forward. So it's a higher pitched humming, and it's something that I know.
You don't. The only thing that you know is that it's a different sound, but it's happening above you, but you can't see what it is. And it's a similar sound, the one that the large skyships make.
Okay.
Oh, probably with a skiff.
Skiff? Skiff? What is skiff?
The smaller airships.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah, it describes the sound, so then Jean can say, "Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know the city like the back of your hand. That's probably not good. Even though it's smaller, it probably is more deadly."
Let's keep moving quickly.
Yes,
and
let's move.
Quietly.
Yes.
You
Hello,
make
cat
your
in
way.
Background.
You make your way with little to no. You see around the odd mansion and the odd houses in between. Some people have poked their heads out from the door or window, and they see you running in the street, and they immediately shut it. And you see down one of the alleyways, a couple people are just huddled up against the walls, trying to make themselves as small as possible. You, with no event, no to do at all, you make your way all the way back to the guard post. As you approach the guard post, give me, what is each of yours passive perception?
15.
15?
10.
10. As you approach the guard post, Ylva, you smell it before you see it. It's the smell of blood. It's that irony smell that you can almost taste on your tongue. And it's the smell of blood and of death. As you approach the guard post, the checkpoint that you passed through earlier, all around this guard post, you see bodies of Redguard. And you see the body of Mulford. And his head is almost bitten completely off, as it just sort of is hanging there, his body completely lifeless. All
Knew
of
we should've
these,
killed that one.
all of these bodies are gaunt, and they are drained.
I should have killed that one. We should have killed him.
There's no way we would have known for sure at that time, and you had other business.
Ylva's just very like mad within herself, but knows the situation is just starts like walking ahead, like running ahead, like not even like, it's just like within herself.
Jean will leave 2 silver from Mulford's ferry passage into the afterlife. Buy me a drink on the other side. Actually, he'll leave 3.
Placing the coins on the eyes.
He'll place them on the eyes. He'll flip them to them. He's like, it's more of like the gesture, and he'll flip a 3rd, saying, "Buy me around on the other side."
You continue along with Ylva as you begin to make your way. You're at the sort of the pinnacle of where you entered the Winterhold Keep neighborhood district, and now you are making your way back downhill towards the bridge that you had to cross in order to get through to Merkden and then the Salford. You are, just so I'm clear on this, you are making your way to the South Docks to find a boat.
Yes.
As you make your way down to the South Docks, give me one last stealth check.
Still up or no?
That's what I'm saying. You're coming up on that hour.
Okay, one more. Okay, cool.
Math is hard.
29 altogether. 12
29.
plus 7 plus 10. Yeah, 29.
Jacques is 32.
Hey!
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
He rolled a
32.
16.
You rolled a 16.
Math
Nice.
is hard.
No, math is
hard.
very hard. No, good job.
Stay in school. Actually, it's 33.
30.
Because he has a plus. Because he has a 7 plus 10. Yeah, 33. Stay in school, kids. Do math.
Ylva will let you have this win. Ylva will let you have this win.
29 and 33. Okay.
We're back on his familiar territory. Okay, he's worked this side a little bit more.
This is whatever phrase I want to use. Anyway, as you make your way down down and over the bridge, you cross over the river, and you see sort of a similar sights as you saw on the North Docks in the residential areas where people are hiding. You see people closing their doors and their windows as you're passing by, and you see some people are looking out. Because of how the Merkden Southern Docks are positioned, you're actually able to look across a portion of the bay and see the North Docks. And in the sky above Ilfang Prison, several of these massive sky ships have gone aloft, and they are peppering either the ground or the air around Ilfang Prison with firebolt after firebolt. With the red mages are trying to find something. You see the sky above Ilfang Prison just full of fire and smoke as these red mages are raining down attack after attack. Not sure if they're finding their mark. They're just trying to hit something. As you make your way down to the docks, there are definitely seamen who are all around the different ships. You do see all of these larger, tall ships. Jean, you pretty much are able to figure out what boat 2 people could handle. Nothing larger than a tiny little skiff, maybe to get across the bay to the south side, or maybe to get out of the bay and then sail north up the coast, but just to get out of Ashcaleen.
Yeah.
Are both of you heading in the same direction?
I looked at Jean and was like, well, is this where we part ways, or should we try to tolerate each other for a little longer?
I think we can tolerate each other for at least another 30 minutes. At least till we get out of whatever this is.
Why did I expect anything else? And I think we're going to go for the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah, same boat. This is a vibe.
Okay.
It's a weird vibe, but it's a vibe.
It's a vibe going on right now.
As you move past the tall ships, you pass by the yacht. funnily enough, as you pass by the yacht, this is the same yacht that you realized was from Sinister or from Brecca. You realize there is now a very lavish pink and gold banner that is hanging from one side of the rear of the ship to the other that clearly says on it, "Congrats, just married." And staring at the very rear of the ship, staring off above you, looking at the tops of the different buildings in the Merkton Dock district, is one of the most foppish, flamboyant sea captains you have ever seen in your life.
Love it.
And he has doffed his hat, and which has a very, very large red feather in it, and he holds it to the side, and he's looking over at the city, and he has sort of a worried, anxious expression on his face. You continue to move past this ship. And the boats get progressively smaller, and there is one tiny sailboat that could be outfitted for 2 people.
All right. We go for that one. I was worried we were going to go for the other one. I was like, okay, I guess we're either going to have to make him convince something's going on between us, or we pay him off and was like, do you want to die here? But no, we'll take the smaller boat.
I have a little bit extra pocket change.
If you would like to reconsider, you could try and persuade him. So you move down the dock, and then you're like maybe we.
I do have 30 gold.
Maybe it's better to have the bigger one.
Let's. That way we have more room for we don't have to have this weird vibe.
Like I said, I would tolerate you. Doesn't that mean I want to be close to you 24/7? Let's go.
Let's go.
As you approach the yacht, you see that alongside this captain appears to be 4 crewmen who have now joined him as they're looking over the city, and specifically some are looking out towards the North Docks. Captain Lazar Socrates, notices you, and he says, "Good evening to you both, gentlemen, lady. What brings you to the Fairy Light?"
We're looking to not be in such a rough and tumble neighborhood right now, looking across at the destruction over there. You can see that this isn't ideal for any of us. Probably.
Pretty sure you don't want to die here, don't you? So maybe we better make a quick exit.
I'm sorry. What do you... Yeah. Somebody's saying something about dying? Who's dying? Nobody's...
Do you see what's happening behind us?
I did. My eyes did engage the conflict in the northerly direction. But sadly, I am not able to allow you to engage me or my vessel in this moment, as... He gestures to the banner. I am already under the pay and patronage of a couple that is newlywed, a lord from this fair kingdom of Nimrione, and a lady from Surstia. And my desire is to bring them both safely back to her homeland.
How much?
Yeah.
Oh, it is not an issue of price at all, as he sort of semi-seriously puts his dons his captain's hat and flutters the feather back slightly, and he looks at you in a sort of a more serious. It's like, money is not at issue here. As a man of honor, I must make sure that the lady is able to make it home, and I have been very handsomely paid by her parents to convey her once again across the seas with her husband. He says the word husband with a slight look, like he's maybe not too thrilled with the other side of this marriage, but he's not paid to think about that, so it doesn't matter.
I was gonna reach in and pull out 50 gold in a bag. I don't give it to him. I'm holding it out to him. I'm holding it out. Like
Jean will pull out basically all of his pocket change and the 30 extra gold from his delivery. And actually he stops looking at the captain and he starts looking at the crew. Like he's like,
you do that, I'll keep the attention on the captain. Are we fucking up story on your main campaign right now?
Not necessarily. The crew the crew look at the captain. The captain looks at the money and well, I am a man who definitely enjoys a good bit of coin. Money makes things easier, after all. I know that I would not be long for this world if I returned to the shores of Brecca empty-handed. And unless you are in some way able to pay higher than the sum that was previously engaged me with, then I would have to respectfully decline.
What was that sum?
I was to be paid 1,000 gold, and each of my sailors here were to be awarded 200 apiece.
Well, I mean, look behind you. It doesn't seem like that they will be leaving soon, given that there's not only the fire, but there's also the screaming and also the sounds. Does that not frighten you?
Oh, very much. Very much indeed. But I
do value your life?
I do expect my mistress and her betrothed here within the next couple of hours. So I'm sure that we will be able to disembark for fairly soon.
Few hours. The city is going to crumble in less than 30 minutes. Look at the map here. Look.
At this point, you see the crewmen start to shift their feet slightly uncomfortably. They're looking at the smoke in the sky, and they're also just very aware that the docks have grown strangely quiet in this moment. One of the crewmen approaches the captain. Hey, Lazar, maybe it won't be such a bad idea to, make off. I mean, these people seem to. I mean, this is money assured right here, as opposed to whatever we were promised. I know we were promised more back in Suristia, but I mean, who knows? If we stick around longer, we might not live to see that nice chunk of change. And Captain Lazar, in this moment, becomes, even though he presents himself in a very foppish, flamboyant way, stares daggers at this crewman. And he, with his eyes, backs this guy down.
You could just take us and drop us somewhere and then come back. And then you would see if your married couple will come by. Just drop us off somewhere away from the city, and you come back. And then you have a little extra tip and change to share amongst yourselves and your crew.
One of the crewmen looks at Lazar, looks at the North Docks. Oh, I'm sorry, Captain Lazar. No, I ain't sticking my neck out for no chunk of change. I don't care how big it is. If I'm dead, I ain't seeing any of it. Hey, for the lot, I'll find you another boat that we might be able to make off with post haste. If you are free to leave at this very moment.
Yeah. And Jean will kind of lean in a little bit to the other crew members and the captain and goes, "It's hard to spend your money in coin on the ferryman to the afterlife." I do. As he just intimidates them.
And I think when that
Can I roll intimidate? Just
give me an intimidation check.
And I think because of that one crew member that takes off, Ylva will.
Can you actually give it to me with advantage, because Ylva's assisting you in this, and is oh boy.
That is going to be at least. That is math is hard, guys. Math is hard.
You got this. You got this.
That's a 22 intimidation. So just
Okay.
like lean in and be like,
yeah. And
hard to
as the
spend.
crewman comes,
Coin or honor.
Each of the crewmen of the four, there's the one who's like he's already climbing down the gangplank to get to the dock where you are standing. Captain Lazar just looks at each. Just, what? Alexander can leave. Alexander, we can still we can still get out of here. We don't need to be. And suddenly, each of the crew, like, they see sort of desperation in the captain's eyes, and they're like, "Sorry, Captain. Best of luck." And they take off. They take off these. You're noticing in this moment these. They are wearing these tricorn hats that have these pink frills on them, sort of symbolizing, very much matching the coloration of the banner. And they take them off and just chuck them in the water as they run down the gangplank to you guys. And they're like, not that it matters, but how much gold are we talking? I know we have to split it multiple ways, but I just want to hear how much.
Yeah.
All right. So I have the 50 here. You have how much?
I actually don't know how much he would have had in starting gold, but he has at least 30 from the
so there's 30 from
errand.
The job, but then Jean-Jacques usually doesn't. He usually walks the city because he has to pay informants whenever he encounters them.
Yeah.
So he would usually carry about 50 gold on him all the time.
Yeah. So he has another 50. So 80 from Jean.
80.
Okay, so 130 gold. And then say Jean usually has about 20 silver just on him at any time.
Okay. So I have the 50, but you know what? I will add another 50 on top, so I'll have another. So I have 100 gold myself.
Okay.
To offer and to add with yours, John. So I will remove 100 gold from my thing.
Captain Lazar just takes his hat off and is like wiping his brow. He's just sweating bullets now as he suddenly finds himself completely alone on a yacht that requires more than just one person to helm. And you suddenly see like his face drain of all color, and you suddenly becomes like almost green as he suddenly becomes very ill as he just walks to the edge and just starts to vomit over the side. And then he walks down the steps and into the hold and is lost to sight. The other crewman, the Alexander, the guy who joined you first, it's like, all right, let's all go, ride this way. And he leads you further down the docks until you find a smaller skiff that looks to be has a decent sail on it and looks like it could be crewed fairly easily with 6 people.
Okay, so yeah,
awesome.
Gives the 100 gold, and then you have your 80, so that's 180 split between everybody as of right now. And there might be an extra bonus if you get us to safety.
Oh, as long as we're alive, I'm totally fine with whatever. They pull up the anchor, or they untie the knots from the side of the dock, and they push the ship out, or the boat out rather. And one of them begins to work on the sail and get the sail upright, and then one is sitting at the tiller. The two of you are seated in the center. And as the ship begins to, or the boat begins to make its way out into the bay, you hear the faintest of sounds, faintest screams from deep within the salt ford. And it's sounds of many different voices and peoples, all meeting an uncertain end.
Or Lucas.
And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Yeah.
Woo!
Love it.
Ylva's feeling good. She got a night howler dead in there.
I was not entirely sure how that was going to go down either. I was like, I know where he is, but I don't know what they're going to do when they get there. Like, he's in the prison. But that ended up working out really well. thank you everyone for watching and listening. Who knows if we will revisit these characters? I hope so. In terms of like seeing where their adventure goes. Thank you again. And we will see you next time with these survivors, hopefully, of Ashcaleen. Thank you all. Love you. Bye.
Bye.